My name is Dennis. I go by the name Gramatik. It would be hard to define my music. If I have to, there would be, I don't know, some sort of a mixture between hip-hop and electronic music and mixed with funk and soul, I guess. So many different genres that I grew up listening to, and when I started making music, I started incorporating all of that into like my own sort of like weird cocktail. When I'm looking for a sample, it just has to be something that moves me, you know, and that I can see in advance how can I flip it. I like to crate dig a lot through fucking YouTube and stuff like that. I don't do it the old school way as we used to do it, like going and looking for actual records. Some days I start with a sample, some days I start with a kick and a snare, some days I start with a bass line. There's no exact science to it. I have periods where I write them every day for like 3 months and I just on the roll, I guess, and then I have like periods where I take time off. Try to make it like a little bit different live than it is on the album, you know. I do it in a way so I have my tracks laid out the way they are mastered, and that I bring, instead of like breaking the arrangements down, I just leave the tracks as they are because they sound as best they can as the way I master them. But then I have like additional channels, and like 3 or 4 channels in Ableton where I play stuff over it. You know, like percussions and additional like loops and little beats and pieces and stabs and vocal samples and stuff like that. Hi-hat loops and that actually add up to the arrangement that's not necessarily like the same as on the album. And then in addition to that, most of the time I bring my friend that plays the guitar with me, and he also like plays on a lot of my tracks. He goes through my master channel, so if I put beat repeating, it's repeating him as well, and I resample him and stuff like that. It's open to a lot of improvisation on his end, but we just like set up which parts of the songs and which songs he plays and where, you know. I've noticed that my fans all appreciate that because they love electronic music, but they also like really like to see live instrument elements. It's always easier to execute the technical side once you have a really good idea for a song. You can learn how to proper mix and master by teaching, you know, yourself or taking classes or whatever. But in terms of creating an awesome musical idea, that's different. Like nobody can actually teach you that. It has to come from within. I make all my music through Ableton and play live with Ableton. Like I like to use Ozone as the entire package, Ozone 5, to master and mix. Like Native Instruments Massive and FM8 and Pro 53, a lot of synths. And of course like a lot of like Moog simulations and some hardware from Moog. Moogs are like definitely like my favorite synths. Even before I studied audio engineering, I was mastering my own stuff because I just felt awkward sending it to somebody else, even though that's the industry standards. Some people would argue that you as a creator of your music cannot be objective about its sound because you made it, so it's kind of warped and distorted in your mind. But there are also like people in this, especially in the EDM scene, that do it all themselves because they know exactly how they want it to sound. They have the skills to do it, and they would feel like it's a waste of time and effort to explain to somebody else how they want the track to sound. You know, most of us will never get to that point where we're satisfied with our own mixes, you know? It's like, if you're like a true artist and an engineer, it's always going to feel to you that it's not sounding, it's good, but it's not good enough, you know? You can always do it better. And I think that's going to haunt us for the rest of our lives. So you just, at one point, you just got to be like, you got to accept that as the human condition and just live with it, you know? That you're never going to be good enough for you, because as soon as you're done with a project, it's going to sound the best project you ever made, but at that point, you're going to know that the next one can sound even better. You just need to get there, you know, and that's like a reoccurring moment in life that you just have to accept, you know. Just keep doing it, and eventually you will get to that point if you are able to assess your work objectively, you're gonna see that every track you make, it's better than the last one, both in like musical sense and technical.